Welcome everyone to episode 9 of the Sky Temple podcast. Exercise and enthusiastic rambling about explorers for Sky ROM hacks. My name's Max Jersey, coming to you live from the US West Coast and from down under in Australia. I am joined by Yakuman. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. We're up to episode number 9. We're almost going to hit the 10th episode next week. I say it's going well, and yeah, it's getting to the end of the year, and that can only mean one thing, which is a nice segue.
Oh my god. Yes, folks, you heard it here first. We don't actually have a news segment this week because there's no news. Because
everyone is very busy with the hack jam, including myself.
Yeah,
which is why this episode is probably the way it is, because I would have had no time to play any new hacks this week.
Yeah, we had to do a little planning and shifting things around to get this one to work, but we are getting an app out. But the segue is kind of lost because you're talking for too long. But the Hack Jam is ending. This is going live on Wednesday in the US. Hack Jam ending on Saturday. And at that time, exclusive world premiere news. Hack of the Year stuff is going to open. Wow, Hack of the Year. I can't believe we haven't talked about that since episode 1, except at the end of every episode, so yeah, we kind of do mention it every time. But yes, it is happening. The organization is really going to start happening. The reason why we've waited so long is because we're waiting for the last Hack Jam of the year to conclude. So at that time, no one's going to be kind of like super busy and overloaded with everything. But from then, the plan is we are going to get some judges in there, and we're going to get hopefully a lot of hacks. You know, people trying to throw their hat into the ring, say, let's go, let's win some awards. Hack of the Year, baby. Time to get that award show cred, and be a part of what is most certainly going to be a legendary live stream coming in January 2023. I'll just say this now for the people listening. I don't care if you're a fucking lurker or whatever. If you have played a lot of hacks, sign up to be a judge. I anticipate that it may be a little hard to find people who have played enough hacks to be able to judge for this. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get a lot of people that happen to have played a lot of hacks. But hey, if you're one of these people, we are not trying to gatekeep. You don't have to be someone who has made a hack or whatever. You just have to play and have opinions. And if I know anything about the internet, Yakuman, it's that people who play games have opinions and are very loud about them. So that's all I have to do.
Absolutely.
That's all I have to do. And with that leading into episode 9, Pikachu's Great Adventure, a hack that there actually was a very early demo of this a long time ago. I think earlier in 2022. I did not play it, I'm going to be honest.
And I didn't even know that it existed until they mentioned that they were working on a new demo.
Yep, it did exist. But this version came out September 4th, 2022. And there's since been a bunch of other patches. I did wait until things got stabilized a little bit, so
I may have helped with that stabilization. I took one for the team.
Yep, this is this is just classic. This is something that every dev that's trying to make something ambitious goes through, so definitely don't hold it against this game. Lord knows, anyone who's kept up with Explorers of the Spirit development knows that you have first public release and you have bug fix patch 1, bug fix patch 2, bug fix patch 3, and then maybe then you get your like extra polishing pass deluxe edition of the content that's already in the game. But that's just how it goes. Definitely nothing wrong with patching your game.
Absolutely.
Okay. So our notes are a little bit disorganized on this, but I guess I'll start. That opening movie's really cool.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of that. I think the creative decision. I was right on that. The using the like dungeon background text as a um the transition between gameplay segments as in a way that like a trailer would is a really cool idea. I think that's something that PMD Time and Darkness
Yes.
did.
Yes. So the music, both the music and the way that the opening is structured is more like Time and Darkness.
Okay.
And I actually just want to just apropos of nothing, I actually prefer Time and Darkness's intro over Skies. It's more, I think, Time and sorry, just vanilla point here.
Yeah.
I think the intro for Time and Darkness more conveys the true tone of the game, whereas Sky is kind of like, it's almost like version 2, and it's pretty much like, it's not even aimed at first time players. It's kind of like, this is the deluxe edition.
Right. Yeah, that's like the classic, a lot of I guess a lot of like younger PMD fans may or may not have even watched those animated specials. But I think a lot of people have that experience of watching the Explorers of Sky pre-release animated special and just being like, "Wait, so they start at the Hidden Land?" Good times, good times. We could talk about the weird promotion for Sky forever, but yeah, on this game, the opening movie's great. Excellent. I like how it's actually synced with the BGM. That is something that anyone who's actually tried that can tell you that it's easy in theory and really really annoying in practice to get it and have it not feel forced and have everything actually still flow correctly. And there's a lot going on in all these individual scenes that are cobbled up, and also these scenes aren't being reused either. As you realize later in the game, these scenes are kind of like a purposeful misrepresentation of how it actually occurs in the game, or at least some of them I can think of. Which that's one of those things that's pretty cool once you realize it and you rewatch. It's like, you guys are tricksters. More on cutscene direction stuff. I like how this hack in particular does force pauses in the text scrolling. This is something that a lot of hacks have done. I think usually it's something that's kind of a pet peeve of mine, or it is sometimes, where sometimes when I'm actually reading, the pause is too long, where it feels like the pause in dialogue is distracting if it's mid sentence. So let's say you have a sentence that's separated by a comma. You'll have some people will add a wait however many frames after the comma to convey that that's a pause in the sentence structure, because it is. But if you're reading and you're reading fast enough, and then you get to the comma, and then it's like there's enough time for your brain to process, like, oh, now I have to wait for the rest of the scroll. I think if you get to that point, it's, like I said, it can be distracting. This hack, it's a very, very, very small pause. It's just enough for your brain to recognize, like, that was a pause, but not long enough for it to feel like it's delaying the text at all. I don't know if you feel the same way. Are you a faster reader than I am, and this annoyed you, the speed it was at, or do you like it? I don't know.
I'm a slower reader. I am very slow. I find when I'm watching, say, cutscene movies of PMD gameplay, or just I find that the text is scrolling way too fast.
Okay.
PMD, I intentionally, like, this is one thing that I intentionally did with PMD Retold. Like, I read it as if I was reading it in my own head, and if that means, if and it's probably not as fast for the majority of watchers, but yeah, I am. Let's just say I'm one person that did not mind the slow text speed of Gates to Infinity.
See, that's crazy. I'm a very big Gates of Infinity fan, as real ones know. But even then, I would not replay that game without using the fast text speed patch, which came out right after I finished up my first playthrough, and that was my biggest gripe with that game. Like, that's to quote the great James Rolfe, what were they thinking? Um, oh man. I honestly I don't have many thoughts on the story. I'll let you just go off, but I want to get rid of some of these other bullets.
Yeah,
The
sure, go ahead.
when um Pikachu meets the Mars Shadow, says, "My name is Kazuya." Mars Shadow goes, "Oh shit!" Like from Tekken. That was funny. That was funny because I was thinking that the entire time. It's like, "Oh, your name Kazuya." Oh shit! Like from Tekken. That's like literally what I said. And then 30 minutes later, they do that joke. I think it's because it gets milked for so long. If you were gonna do that in the first 2 minutes, it wouldn't be funny. But it's the fact that it goes on for long enough that it's like okay, whatever. His name's Kazuya. I don't care. And then someone else says, "Oh shit!" Like from Tekken. It's like it validates you. Um,
I want to know where the name Miguel comes from for Marshadow, though, because I am not up on my references, and given that Kazuya is a reference to Tekken, Miguel has to be a reference to something. But what, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I played through assuming that maybe it's a self insert because the dev's name is MK or MKB.
Ooh.
So maybe
Mm.
question to ask later. Um, I have here. Uh, um, other thing I have to say about the story is, and this is something everyone is probably going to encounter. Dying in Beach Cave, and then it says skill issue. Let's talk about this, okay? This is gonna be this could be our 30-minute gamer discussion. Maybe not. I don't know. That is
Oh, it will.
that is probably the most passive aggressive thing I have ever seen from a dev in any game. But it's funny. Like I don't know. I could totally here's my thing. I as a from a dev perspective, I would never in any world do this. Even though I think it's funny. And the reason why is because if you do this, you are putting such a big target on your back. Because if you are going to say skill issue, you better not have any fucking bugs. Like you better have just the tightest gameplay you've ever seen, or you're gonna get roasted for that shit. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the devs just don't care. Like
Alright,
that's
I'm gonna jump in here.
okay.
I am going to jump in here, and I'm gonna share my gameplay story with the podcast, uh, and and everyone. Well, some of you know already, because I streamed this in the Sky Temple server because I wanted to be a good friend to Stolen Burrito, one of the other hacks creators of this hack. I entered the Beach Cave dungeon, and let's just say the balancing was so well. Okay, so if you get through it, if you get RNG'd through it, you're okay. If you die though, the version that I was playing, which is now patched, sent you on a death spiral. I spent an hour and a half in Beach Cave. I died at least 10 to 15 times. and 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 so it got and I mean, it was funny, right? I was playing it on stream and all that. And it was good because that way it showed that maybe there's a balancing problem that was required. But the whole point of the joke, I guess, is that it's Beach Cave. Why are you dying? It's the
Right. That's why it's funny.
Yeah, that's why it's funny, and that's sort of the other element of the joke. But it was sort of fun. Like it was funny in the sense that I eventually had to like save scum out of it to just because you end up in a death spiral, you lose your items, and then you have no items to combat the Pokemon that were unbalanced, which are now more balanced. And you had cloisters with pin missile in there. It was fun, but thankfully that is not a representation of the current pack. So yeah, but yeah, the skill issue, like in the context of that, I guess if the dungeon was at the outset meant to be really hard, I could probably, yeah. I think it works both ways. I think I haven't gotten a fully formed thought about this, to be honest. But
Mm-hmm.
the fact that it was, and Burrito was taunting me as well. He was sort of saying it is a skill issue. I was a good sport about it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of interested exactly what the changes would have been, like what they thought was wrong. Because while playing through, obviously I died, which is why I got that message. I think I only died like once or twice.
Yeah, I think. Hold on, I'm trying to find what was the update that I version 1. Yes, version 1.10.16. Um, uh, oh no, I don't know what was. Either way, the beach cave was nerfed a little bit.
One point oh point 1.16, you said.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the Yakumon patch.
The Yakumon patch. Yeah, I'm seeing. Yeah, there's about like 20 million changes here. So that's yeah, that's another thing where I think the fact that that happens is like we were saying about stuff that gets patched a million times just earlier. I think you do have to give credit to the fact that like the skill issue thing is obviously tongue in cheek because if they thought it was perfect, they wouldn't patch it.
Yeah.
So, it's just I guess my point earlier, for what I was saying earlier, is that like you are really playing with fire. There are I personally know a lot of people who the second that they start to do bad in the game at all without the game taunting them, they will look for any reason to call the game bad, like any reason. It's I catch myself doing that sometimes. I try to really like notice it and keep myself from doing that and try to think like, is it actually a skill issue? Whatever. Some people will not give you the benefit of the doubt, and if you do, again, if you don't care and you just want to filter those people out from playing your game, then go ahead. All the power to you. You know, all art does not need to be for everyone, but you're playing a dangerous game for a joke. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, there's just I think you have something written here about like there's so much just like so much just dumb crap like that in this hack. It's like it fits the tone of
yeah, like this hack can go from 0 to 180 in sort of the serious stakes, really, really quickly. And I think the biggest example of that is, and I know you wrote a note about it too, is when you face the unbeatable Charizard, which is a great
Yeah.
reference to our to Filthy. Um, the Charizard, the number one most favorite Pokemon in all of Pokemon. Um, but you know that fight is extremely funny, right? The dialogue and everything. But then there's like a bit where my shadow just goes a complete 180 mood and ends up killing Charizard, like actual proper murder. Now, at first, you think it's funny, right? You think, oh, ha ha, he killed, he killed Charizard. Like that's what I was thinking, right? Like I was thinking,
Yeah.
oh, that's just random and funny. Like, like they killed Charizard, ha ha ha. But then the next scene, it's like, oh shit, this is actually like not supposed to be funny. Like there's actual mental anguish that goes with like the guilt of killing someone. It's not because like the comedies I'm talking about, like it's like I guess comedies like South Park or Family Guy. They can just kill a random person and everyone laughs and no one cares. But this one, it starts off like that, but then it actually it's actually like important. Like it's actually oh shit, this actually may backfire. This isn't funny anymore. But not in a way that then invalidates those funny moments. It's and you kind of feel bad that you did laugh at it as well. At least it's like, oh, okay. It'll be interesting to see if there's actually like if it's still kind of because it still kind of got dismissed any like sort of after that scene like are there going to be further consequences or not, or I don't know, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. That's why I don't have too many thoughts on the story, like I said earlier, because this is kind of like almost the same thing as Unknown, where I don't know where it's going, so I don't want to say like they're doing XYZ thing good or bad.
Oh yeah.
Um, because yeah, I agree with you there. There's a lot of different directions you could take it. Um, but yeah, I agree. That particular moment did feel really really jarring. Jarring things, by the way, jarring does not mean bad for people listening to this context. Jarring means jarring. That is a way to evoke a certain uncomfortable feeling and emotion in someone that is playing. Create that sort of dissonance. So it's just it just comes down to what are they going to do with it. Um, that's yeah. Anything else you want to say on the story before I go into game? I think
Yeah,
you have a
I
couple
mean,
more.
I wrote quite a bit on the story, but I might not say everything. But um, I really like just a general point. I really liked Esper in the hack from Super Mystery Dungeon. I think Super Mystery Dungeon it probably my favorite character from that game and one of the high points. And just seeing Esper again, it was kind of cool. And then and again another sort of randomest thing. He Esper evolves halfway through the final dungeon of the demo into Meowstic. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know my post Gen 5 Pokemon very well. But the fact is, at the moment, Meowstic has no portraits. So they actively make fun of the fact that he just has one expression and that's it. It's like, you know, this is my excited face, and it's exactly the same as the normal face. It's great. Um,
I didn't even
one
put
thing
that
I also
together. I just thought they were doing a bit.
no, I'm pretty sure there aren't any portraits of Meowstic at the moment.
Crazy. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying?
No, that was it. Oh, that's all I was going to say.
Okay.
um, what else have I got here? I also um for me too, New Game Plus. I haven't actually played New Game Plus properly. I was kind of sort of I didn't get a chance to, but I have watched some of the scenes and this is exactly my genre of comedy. Like I almost feel like throwing a cease and desist at them, not because I've created anything that's similar, but this is out of all of the comedy that like the whole like self-referential, fourth wall breaking. It's comedy gold, right? Like I can't wait to watch like the rest of it. Just to like I wrote here, can this be the actual hack? Because it's I love it. Like it's just it's one of those ones where I can't formulate words to describe how because it's my personal like I personally love it. Really,
So
really a
I
lot.
didn't even play it because I just assumed like since it's called New Game Plus, it would be the same thing.
Oh no, no. So New Game Plus is essentially there's more memes in it, but
Okay.
and those are the ones that got shared on the Discord. But actually, those memes don't make sense to me. So that's not why it's funny. What's essentially funny is Miguel. Miguel is like he actually gets told that he is basically just a typical petulant redditor. Speaks in lowercase all the time, no grammar. Is like just an absolute like pain in the ass. It's just like backchatting, and then you also have Burrito and Hyphen as like they're in there too. Like they're speaking to the characters. They're getting upset. They're getting annoyed. There's fourth wall breaking coding jokes. Like this is it's just great. It's just absolutely great. And it you will yes the difficulty is harder apparently. I haven't played it, but but the comedy is just it's just great.
Okay.
I could rant on about New Game Plus for another 20 minutes. I really could. And I haven't even finished it yet. Like for instance, like the Charizard fight gets changed as well. Is that Nen, Burrito, and Hyphen as their preferred Pokemon, Glaceon and Typhlosion, you have to battle them too in New Game Plus. So you end up like in the Charizard fight battling the creators of the hack. I don't know then where it goes from there, but why did no one tell me to look at this sooner?
Yeah, that's
Hopefully I'm not sounding too biased here, but this is
that all.
perfect.
That all sounds
I'm
pretty
annoyed
cool.
that I didn't make.
That is pretty cool. Like I really wish I played it so to experience that. To be honest, um, that thing about battling the devs as a like fill-in Pokemon, I feel like that is such like shoving the devs in the game is such a modding and ROM hacking staple that hasn't really shown up in PMD that much, man. So that's always good to see. That's how you know it's a fan project. That's your seal of approval. This is a certified fan project if the creator is shoved in there very blatantly as know, either a self-insert or a
All I can
boss or
say,
something.
all I can say is watch out for my Hack Jam submission.
Ooh. Should have put that in the news.
All right. Is there anything else? I'm just saying if there was any other points. I think not. The only other thing that I wrote is that I find it interesting that the game is called Pikachu's Great Adventure, but the story seems to focus A on Miguel and B Pikachu isn't called Pikachu, it's called Kazuya. So why isn't it called Kazuya's Great Adventure? Could just me being pedantic, but that's what I that's just something I thought.
We'll have to see. Maybe there is an answer. Okay, so gameplay thoughts. I think that there's a pretty unique thing going on here with dungeon design. And this is kind of in we touched on this topic on a couple episodes, but when you have fixed team dungeon design, meaning you don't get to pick your starter, Doing that, an advantage of doing that is that it allows you to craft encounters around a certain kit while also still making you think about your resource allocation. I think that is what this hack is good at. There's a lot of things that specifically play around the fact that you are Pikachu and your partner is Marshadow. I should have written this down, but there's a lot of parts where like a dungeon you'll go through, it'll be either one of them is very clearly wants you to lean on them more because of for example, there'll be a lot of I don't know, something that Marshadow's not particularly good against, or maybe the other way around. So once you kind of switch it up, use specific moves on both of them, it's something interesting too because Marshadow does have the dual stab and then also has a range option. Like there's a very balanced and thought through kit going on here. There's definitely need to manage your PP because elixirs are not easy to come by. There's kind of a decent amount of enemies that spawn. But I never really felt restricted by the actual kit at all. I don't think. I'm trying to remember what Pikachu has. I remember definitely Thunderbolt, Thunderwave. I think Quick Attack. I don't know if I'm making stuff up, so I don't want to keep going any further. But just knowing the tools that they are going to have, and them being at a high enough level where they're doing damage, and you are able to scale the enemies up, and they also do damage. This is kind of a classic problem with a lot of RPGs in general. I was going to say JRPGs, but also like Western RPGs have this problem where the early levels suck because you don't have anything unlocked. This game doesn't have that issue. I will say, I think it trades that for arguably another issue. I don't know if you agree with me on this, but this hack is... I think it's very obvious that it's held back by bosses only being able to have 999 HP. Because you can take down every boss in this game in like 4 to 5 turns. Because you start at a higher level. And there are ways around that, but they are very much, band-aid fixes at best. Before I go on ranting about how I wish we could just adjust the damage formula in this game, before I go too deep on one of those rants again, I do get the impression on some of these bosses where it's like they were designed to have more than 1,000 HP. So if it gets found out how to do that, I would anticipate those to change. And a lot of these bosses, like there's the bones of, there's a lot of cool stuff going on because again, the bosses are definitely based around the kit that you have. Like they know the exact tools that you're going to have, your exact kit. And let's design a boss accordingly that makes you play a little bit different. But the problem is you kill them in 4 turns, so you don't have to interact with any of their level design. So that's all I'm saying is that is probably going to be a patch in the future. Almost certainly, if that gets found out. And they already did a lot of fixes that are like outside of the scope of Sky Temple, so I would not put that past them. That. What else do I want to say? So they have a really small inventory size in this game. Talk about items in every single episode on this podcast. I think they have an interesting thing going on here, where it's like I call it a choose your own inventory, because it's very small. You only have the initial 2 pages, but everything drops a lot. Like everything. I mean, orange berries, orbs, debuffing seeds, throwable items, whatever, all the fixins. Decent amount of max elixirs as well. Now, what doesn't drop is food, which I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings on that because I think that it's very hard to make the hunger mechanic engaging in this game because of just how dungeon generation works, and it kind of comes down to luck a lot. But again, it hasn't been anything that's really detracted from the game, so I can't say that it's like a bad thing. It's, in fact, I definitely give them credit for managing to not give you too many food items at all and not have the dungeons immediately fall apart and feel unfun, because that's very hard, which is kind of the point of saying there. And the thing is, you get all these overpowered items, but it's just balanced with the fact that like you can't hold everything at the same time. So that's why I'm saying choose your own, because you have to choose what, like, do I want, because there's certain things that you probably need to hold on to just for posterity's sake, because if you don't have one, probably not a good idea. But it's just the rest, you can kind of morph around whatever your play style ends up being. Like, I want to focus more on these certain types of items so I'm better in these situations, and then play around the situations where I'm not going to be able to get out of there with items. Just another cool thing that, like, you can only do that because you start at a high level. And I will say, of course, the asterisk here is that Reviver Seeds throw this off, because Reviver Seeds is just the best item in the game by a mile, and it's not even close. So if you find a Reviver Seed, you're always going to take that over everything else. That might just be a me thing. I don't know. People who played Spirit know that you do not get a lot of Reviver Seeds in that game. I've gotten a lot of shit for that decision, but I stand by it, man. I hate Reviver Seeds. It takes the depth out of the game. Blah blah blah. Going on an old man yells at a cloud rant. But again, I don't think it got to a point where, again, it's distracting. Same thing as the food. Not the way I would have done it, but it works. It works. It's something that adds to the gameplay, adds an extra element. And the fact that Reviver Seeds do spawn like that, it encourages you to kind of explore the floor a lot, and that's counterbalanced with the fact that you don't get food. And that's kind of how those things interact. Like, you want to look around more, can I get one of those freebies? But at the same time, how long is this dungeon and I don't have any apples? I don't know if you have any thoughts there. Like, kind of.
I mean,
a lot.
I mean, it was a couple of weeks ago since I last played, but I think the dungeons aren't long enough where hunger really was an issue for me, or maybe I bought some and I didn't realize. I don't know, but for me, the dungeons are short enough that hunger, thankfully, doesn't come into it too much.
Yeah, I'd agree. Again, that's if you're rushing to the steps, though. That's kind of what I was saying. How there's these interactions that happen with having the small inventory. You have to make those decisions.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, when it comes to gameplay too, is that I went on a big long. We had a big long discussion to last episode about complete team control.
Yes.
And I must say that this was actually I actually did use complete. It is in this hack, and I did use it. And this is where I think the only advantage that I would probably use it for is Marshadow is able to go through walls because he's a ghost type and it's coded like that. And so when I was in Star Cave, there was a staircase that was in another room. That I could see on the screen. I had no idea where it led. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna phase through this wall, and my shadow can get to the stairs.
Yep, which is why I said last episode it is not quality of life. It changes how the game is played. Perfect example right there. Yeah, that is definitely really helpful tech. Last thing I want to say before we get to the interview. I wanted to write this down. This is another one of those things where in my head, this whole game, it's really weird, Yakko, because this whole game, while I was playing it, and it's been coming out during this, the analysis portion, whatever we're calling this discussion, where the whole time I was thinking like, wow, I would never do that. I would never make that decision. And then I keep playing for a little bit, and then I think about it. I'm like, it works though. That's been pretty much everything in this game. I would never do that, but it works though. Another one of these things, I would never do that, but it works, is one of the bosses you face in this Mimikyu is immune to status. Now look, this does happen in Spirit a couple times before anyone gets at me. There are bosses that are immune to sleep. For example, you cannot put Cresselia to sleep because in lore that would make no sense. And yes, that is the only reason why Cresselia is immune to sleep. And this is a case of specifically Mimikyu cannot be paralyzed. And going back to the point of like being balanced around what you have, Pikachu has Thunder Wave. So that was just a specific check put in there saying, no, you cannot just status a boss and then attack them to death like that. And I understand it, honestly, because I'd say as a general rule in JRPGs, it is kind of lame when you can't status a boss. But why it happens usually in JRPGs, and this definitely applies to PMD, is that sometimes statuses are way too overpowered. So it just kind of trivializes the whole design of whatever encounter you're trying to make. So I get it. It's something that it kind of says, hey, if you're playing a certain way where you want to approach with statuses, you're not going to be able to do that. In my head, I go, well, what the heck? That's too restricting and whatever. But not really. It actually opens you up and forces you to use more by cutting off just the most overpowered. Always choose this option, which, by the way, is the same argument that I was just making 5 minutes ago about Reviver Seeds. So it kind of makes me a hypocrite for thinking that it would be a bad idea to make Mimikyu immune to paralysis. And these are the types of thoughts that we have while we're playing video games for the Sky Temple podcast. There we go. All right. Get into that. Unless you have anything else, or are we good?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. See y'all on the flip side. Welcome back. We are here for the interview. This is our first interview with two people, because two people were behind Pikachu's Great Adventure, which we talked about in the first half of the ep. Joined by Stolen Burrito as well as MKB/hyphen. What do you want to go by for this call?
You can call me MK or hyphen, whatever the yeah.
All right.
Let's just shorten it to hyphen.
Okay, perfect.
Hyphen people.
The thumbnail's wrong, but that's fine.
Thank you for saying it right. There are not many people who get it right the first time.
Well, actually, I cheated. I did watch the first half of New Game Plus, so...
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Are you saying it's supposed to be hyphen, like, subtraction mark?
I just came up with that name while putting in random letters on the Tetris high score table once.
It was
that
Tetris.
Is the origin of that name, and I have stuck with it for a while. But yeah, it's been really fun working on this. And
you go ahead.
And I'm not sure if I have talked about development with this, but I started this late 2021, I think. And I released the first demo and I immediately regretted it because in retrospect, I really don't like it at all.
Okay.
And I spent so long trying to think of a partner because, like, obviously, I wanted to keep Pikachu as the protagonist because the whole like title and stuff was based off of Red Rescue Team's like pitch from like 2004, like 3 or 4.
Hold on.
One of those
Can,
years?
can you go into more detail on that? I'm not sure if I know what you're talking about.
So this was leaked on like a 4chan board in like 2003 or 4 that a Mystery Dungeon game with Pokemon was going to exist, and it had a working title, which was Mystery Dungeon Pokemon World Pikachu's Great Adventure, and I titled it off of that, and more data of that was found in that Giga leak of like 2020, either the 2020 or 2021 one.
Okay.
But it was an odd reference, and I love doing stuff like that. Like references to things that like almost no one will get. I mean, there's kind of a bit of it in our ROM hack already.
That is so crazy. That's so niche. I have a question on here. Let's just go to this now. I don't know if I wrote it down. In your text, I think you're saying like shout out to NBA Live 2004 or something like that.
I was also like really depressed while I was making this, and I coped by playing NBA Live 2004 on the GameCube in Dolphin, and I played it for like 7 hours straight once.
Why'd you put it as? I'm trying to find it.
It's in there somewhere. There's
Emotional
a lot
support
of-
or something.
There is so much random stuff. If you go in like into Sky's Temple in the ROM, there's a lot of stuff.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
there's
Unused,
moral support all lowercase.
and a lot of debug prints. There is debug prints all over the place.
I
Like,
gotta look at them now.
Debug Prince, Undertale.
So is NBA Live 2004 the best one? I'm not really familiar with basketball games. I know that
sports
football
video games.
definitely
If you
peaks
want
on
to
the
talk
game.
about sports, please talk to me. This is a request. If you want to talk to sports, well, EA actually used to make good video games. I think people knew
course.
that.
Yeah. That's
And-
out. I mean, football games like Madden peaks on the
Madden
like around that time.
2004 might have been the best one. EA made the best baseball game ever, just period. And MVP Baseball 2005 is easily the best baseball game ever made. I think, at least.
See, I'm one of those sickos who does prefer the show sometimes. But yeah, you can always go back to MVP. Like it's
The
aged pretty
show
well.
when it came out on the Switch, and I was really excited. And then I like actually started playing it more, and realized, wait,
It's a 2K game.
it's the show
The
is
show's not 2K.
2K
Oh,
hasn't
that shows
made
how much
an
I know.
entry. 2K hasn't made an entry since 2K13, and that game was pretty good.
Yeah, don't worry, Yaku, I'm worse.
Okay, just more thing. I just need to mention this about PGA. When I first started making it, I started making it as like a coping tool because I was really depressed when I started making it, and I used it to distract myself.
I
And I
did
thought
not
it-
know this.
I thought it did pretty well, and then I played it, and then I realized, no wait, this sucks. And then Burrito just came up to me once and like, hey, you had this old project. Hey,
That's not how it went, and you know it.
It's just so casual.
Now-
kind of. I mean, I don't remember it.
Was the
Yeah, my
date?
memory fucking is ass. My memory sucks.
Now hold on. So something I had written down here is that on the README and in the credits, you guys have your duties separated here. This is why I thought that we had to have both you on, because we have Hyphen the director and then Burrito the producer.
Did all of the
So-
scripting, and I did like almost everything else.
Okay.
What do you mean
I am-
almost? You did everything else.
But yeah, you're right. But like, I'm like a ROM hacker who doesn't actually know how to script. I have tried a lot, and I'm just stupid.
You know what? That
I
is
might retry again sometime.
that's a to me when you say that, that sounds like that would be hard to make that work if it's one person having the creative vision and the other that's actually coding. How do you two work together like that and have it actually work?
I don't know.
Tell you about X Delta. Oh my god. So I'm not sure if we knew that we sent X Delta patches to each other. So our first ROM wasn't clean, and it wasn't the other one. I forgot the name of it already. I don't care. It was neither of them. It was some other dump, and we kept trying to patch it over things, and it wouldn't work. And we kept wondering why. And like, this took like a week of us being stupid.
It's
With
honestly a
X-
miracle that we somehow managed to have the same version across both of us.
I have
I didn't-
no idea
would it-
what happened, but it was so weird. That's the whole reason why Patch Me First is a thing, because it's not a ROM because it's not a patch for the clean version. The Patch Me First makes it that weird version that we patched over, and what we actually have patches over that. I hate X Delta, man. It sucks.
Oh my god.
I
Didn't
use
even
it
Man.
for like
you
Melee
now.
too,
Sounds
and like it's not great.
like you two have learned a lot. That sounds like a lot of hair pulling probably, but
Learning a lot. We mean to just ask 8x like everything.
that too. That's kind of a secret of this community.
I mean, 8x
little
is
known
one of my
secret.
best friends, so I mean that helps as well.
Not to flex or anything.
Yeah, not that's or anything. Yeah. I'm not sure if he feels the same way, but he matters a lot to me. So yeah.
There you go.
Hi,
There
8x.
you go, 8x. I know you're listening.
Sounds 8x.
Yeah, that's 8x. You're a real one.
Let's see here. I'll ask one and then you get the next one, Yakko. I'm wondering if first of all, after that story, congrats on shipping this, because I feel like a lot of teams would have just given up and said, "Fuck this, fuck ROM hacking, I'm done." But going forward, because it seems like you two have a system going. Are there any gameplay story ideas or whatever things that you're trying to implement in future versions of the game?
I don't know. Like, we've been having fun with SND Stream, obviously, with the whole thing. There's a lot of SND Stream. Did
I say
And
to you
like-
guys just how big the patch is projected to be?
The patch is projected to be huge. It's gonna be. How big is, with all the songs we plan on using, how big will the patch be?
No, that's the wrong folder. One
You
second.
have it somewhere here.
Didn't you hit the limit? Didn't you hit the limit, or was that someone else?
129 megabytes for the patch.
I don't. I don't think
Be
that's normal.
afraid.
I have dealt with patches that size for Melee, which was just changing the code of the game.
Right, yeah, obviously it won't work. It won't fit on a real DS. We'll try, but it'll fail. Which is why we're probably just going to have an alternate version with none of those music, whatever.
Maybe we might do that. We might, like. It's hard to think right now because there's a lot of stuff we want to do. We're just limited by Nintendo's hardware from 2004.
Right.
Man, the DS is really that old, huh?
Yep.
I'm so old. I remember when it came. I'm so old. I remember reading game magazines of
Oh, yeah.
when it was a rumor.
I
think I
still have my old DS.
I was born in 2004 and I read gaming magazines because I have an N60. I have a couple issues in Nintendo Power because my dad had some from like late 90s, late 80s.
Well,
So I've
sorry.
read some of those too. They're pretty neat. I have a strategy guide for Perfect Dark.
there you go.
I still want the Nintendo Power issue that featured Mystery Dungeon. I still want that. There was one where it was on the cover.
I
And
think I actually have a strategy guide for Explorers of Time and Darkness without actually owning the game at all.
that's really funny.
I think my grandparents got it to me as a birthday or Christmas present once, and I just sat in my room, and then I read it once and had the entire story spoiled.
Yep.
Wow.
Strategy guides, baby.
Sorry.
Love them.
I had a strategy guide to Splatoon 1. That was outdated within like 3 months.
I didn't even know they still printed strategy guides when Splatoon 1 came out.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that
They
too.
still do, and I think it's really cool that they do.
I'm pretty sure there's one out for BDSP, isn't there?
Just read a strategy guide for Diamond and Pearl.
Sorry about the clacking of my keyboard, by the way. But
That's
Rito's
character.
keyboard
Yeah.
is very loud. It is very
No.
loud.
no, that's based on in Pearl. Nope, can't find one. Sorry.
I
Yeah,
was
I found
ready
it.
to answer
I found
so
it.
many questions.
It's on ebooks. There's an actual strategy guide for BDSP.
That's amazing.
Yakko, you want to ask your first question there?
Yeah. So, look, my questions are very superficial, but that they always are. But I know where do the names of the protagonists come from? So I know Kazuya is from Tekken, because if you didn't know, then it's actually mentioned in the game. But like, is there any significance or like reference to like who Miguel is or what that name was inspired by? 'Cause this is just a personal curiosity. of
Oh
mine.
boy. So,
Yeah, they're all just based off MK's friends. If you want to explain
this
them, go ahead.
Miguel is not based off a friend. So I mean, I
What?
have a friend,
Oh, yeah.
but it's not really based off him. His name is Miguel, and he tweets a lot of the time that he's bored. And in one of my friend groups just says they're Miguel when they're bored. And someone said that, I'm like, you know what? That'd be a great name for the partner that I have been trying to think of for 4 months. And then it just kind of stuck. It was like supposed to be a placeholder, but we liked it, so it stuck.
Does Miguel act like that in real life? Does he like fighting games and all that shit?
I've talked to him once.
Okay, cool.
He hangs out with Clout God. I don't think any of you know who that is, and to be honest, that's probably for the better.
I don't know what you just said, and that's probably for the better too.
Clout God.
I don't know why you restated
And
it, but go
I
nuts.
could mention the names of the people in the town because almost all of them are references to real people that are like I'm friends with. And the Zigzagoon is based on someone named Yada. I just think that's very important to mention. He will have updated lines throughout the entire game.
Ooh,
Mutant.
spoiler.
It's literally the Zigzagoon that when you walk up to him, he says Wieland, and that's it.
They stack money like the Jenga
I
blocks.
stack money like they're Jenga blocks.
Best character.
He loves that, dude.
Okay, next question. Well, something we talked about in the first half was there's a couple gameplay things I noticed. They're all things that like you definitely have to go out of your way to implement, such as we talked about how there was one boss that you can't paralyze. There's a combination of having a small bag size and having a kind of a larger item drop rate. You're starting off with a strong kit and at a decently high level. So from the dev perspective, from the dungeon design perspective, whatever. What are you going for? Like, how do all these elements come together? And what's the general like gameplay loop that you're going for to try and make your own spin on Mystery Dungeon in this hack?
I mean, to be honest, I kind of wanted the bag to be bigger. I just don't know how to do it.
Me neither. We just kind of kept it as is because we thought, good enough.
It made
who's
challenge,
telling-
and then it made challenge, so maybe it'll be a feature. I don't know.
I mean, hey, who's gonna fill up all 24 slots on the first dungeon? But hey, let's give them like 18 to start.
Yeah. I mean, there will be items that like hold items that will appear in later dungeons. I mean,
Oh, yeah, we didn't add a single one, did we?
There were hold items, yeah.
Oh. Weird. I thought you took those out.
How do I know that?
How
Not
do
the
you know
dev.
that?
You know what I love about this question is that Max has done what he's done all podcast series where he does a 20-25 minute deep dive into the gameplay about how challenge and then you just come out and just say, oh, we just left it in there.
I mean, hey, if you want to watch that first part, I think it worked out for the most part. So
I think so too.
I mean, I think I'm a pretty good dungeon balancer, and by I mean good balancing, I mean it's really balanced or it's really unfair.
And by balance, you
I
mean,
shared
hey, let's
my
give Pidgey
beach cave
tailwinds.
troubles.
I test these myself, and if I don't have any problem with them, I think it's fine.
Let's just give
Like, I guess
Pidgey both
sometimes
agility
if I have
and
noise, it's
tailwind. That'll
like,
work.
yeah, this should be fine. And then I realized
Why-
Misty Dungeon has a lot of luck in it as well.
I got a question. Why didn't you decrease the spawn rate of blast seeds? In
It
BK?
just sort of like it just later became an inside joke. We're not going to lower the rates. We won't lower the rates.
I think we did increase it by like 0.01% as a joke. But
I
other
don't know.
than
I
that,
might
yeah.
go edit the blast seed in the next part. Oh yeah, this might be a part thing because, like, we really like our story, but we also want to keep it releasing. So we might just keep like developing up to a point and then release it there, then develop more and release it. Like that structure, and hopefully have it not give up like Half-Life 2 did. But I think this project is good for both of us. We've said that a lot.
Yeah.
Good
So
for
far, I
both.
think-
Good for you in what way?
For me, it's having something to do, and I don't want to get into personal stuff, but yeah, you know.
Sure.
But
So
it's-
me, I kind of just ran out of stuff to do during the summer. So yeah, this was definitely a good way to kill time.
And I think we're gonna still keep making progress on it.
As long as
However,
a certain thing gets fixed.
yeah.
Maybe at one
Hopefully.
point.
I don't know.
If
I
not,
trust-
we'll just have to, I don't know, rebalance the entire game. That'd be fun.
I mean, you could just lower all the levels. It won't be that difficult. I just don't want to do it.
You remember that boss stats are separate from their levels, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, cool.
Speaking
Yakko,
of, hey, Burrito, can I keep mentioning the 2 times you overwrote the slot that is items on that is
I'm
items
sorry.
on Nick Wars?
I'm sorry. I
Why did you-
overwrote
Wait,
item
wait.
slot 2 twice.
You overwrote slot 0, which is the items that you pick up on fixed rooms, and then you did it again after I fixed it.
I forgot.
Yakko, I gotta say, there is something just so different from a lot of the other episodes where this is really just two people who are just making a hack because they want to make a hack.
Yeah.
That's the impression I'm getting from this discussion. You guys just hack it because you want to hack. And
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I
What's all
I
that?
Just
kinda-
mess around and break the game and just find out what find out what happens. I love it.
If
How many-
people don't like it, who the hell cares?
Yeah,
Uh,
I remember when I first played Mahag, like the first demo. I think JoJo was the first one who played it.
okay.
Ugh.
I forgot the next part of the story. Dang it!
Probably
Is that the
best.
story?
I mean, I did actually play the old demo just to see where MK was coming from.
I don't like it.
Let's just say I don't think he knew what Union All was.
I
I mean,
don't like Union All.
if you came out with it last year, a lot of people didn't know what Union All was. So
I
definitely.
played the Union All for the first time, and I never want to do it ever again.
Sorry,
So messy.
I'm dying.
I dying on MK.
Shut up.
Burrito, I have to say, idea for your tutorial, and I could possibly help on this. All about Union All. Got a catchy title and everything.
I've been dreading that for so long.
I'm on Burrito.
Yeah,
You gotta
and
do it
for
at some
context-
point.
Like, I
For
wanted.
context, for people that don't know, Burrito has made very helpful Sky Temple tutorials that go over both the basic techniques and the more advanced stuff like the ASM, and I guess is our hero when it comes to actually teaching people how to use S&D Stream. I think we're going to have a lot of S&D Stream
In
in
the
this hack
future.
jam.
Yeah.
There are already like 3 or 4 instances, and of course we're gonna use it. We already have the files in the ROM.
Yeah,
Obviously,
There-
not everything. We're still
there's a
deciding
lot
this.
in there. I kind of wanted a credits theme, but I don't know if that'll work specifically.
It'll work.
When
It's just will our patch size support it?
I mean, you had one. What was the one song that was really long that you put in, and the moment you took it out, it made the patch size significantly smaller?
Yeah,
Like,
what
how
was
big was
that? I know I did that.
I don't remember what song it was, but it was something.
Oh yeah, I think I remember. Yeah, it was Forest Funk.
Yippee.
I copied and pasted it like 4 or 5 times and then exported it. Whoopsie
We're
doodle.
very professional. We swear.
Essel. Still
See,
see,
we're like-
I actually did that. How
It's
do you
crazy 'cause
mistype
we're like-
else?
It's crazy because we're like trying to be like different, kind of. Like
In
we're
what way?
trying a lot of different things. I didn't just hear. It's just two guys who don't really know what they're doing, and
But you're learning.
we're just throwing stuff together to the wall and seeing if it sticks. That's a good analogy.
What's all about, baby. Before we started recording, you said you wanted to say something about, like, talk about the long dev cycle for this release.
What do
You want to
before
tell
we
that story?
start recording? Have we not been recording?
I said 1, 2, 3 going live, and you said that whole story before that.
What? I did what now?
I mean, like this development cycle took like. I mean, I came up with the idea like mid 2021.
Okay.
And I kept noting it down, kept looking at it, and then I actually decided to go into Sky Temple and mess around for a bit, see if I could do it. I had the courage to make something. I didn't like my first result. I procrastinated for like 5-6 months and worked on it occasionally, not much though. And Burrito wanted to help me, and we basically started from scratch. Most of the same concepts were there. And like we finished our first build within maybe like 2 to 3 months.
We finished in like
We're on
1 month,
1.0.
and then the funny stuff.
What version are we even on? Like
1.0 point whatever.
we're
18.
on 1.0.18.
We've had 18 updates since launch.
And I was solely responsible for one of them. Which I already mentioned.
When that happened, I wasn't sure whether to feel bad for you or just laugh at it because I had
Beach Cave, baby.
I had no troubles with it. So I'm like, dang, that's some pretty bad luck.
I had no troubles with it. MK had no troubles with it. A bunch of other people didn't have troubles with it, but apparently
You did.
and
So
8X
then
just,
we realized, wait, this might not be good.
and then
Maybe
decided
you
to
should
say-
have listened to Adex.
And then you
he
staged something
play
and did it
tested.
first try.
Yeah, he
Alex
play
didn't
tested.
mention much about Beach Cave. Mentioned a bunch about the last two, but not like really anything for Beach Cave. When we first
Which
did
is funny
testing,
because I got past the other 2 dungeons just fine. Like every other dungeon, I didn't die in.
well, granted, you didn't play Mystifying Forest and Star Cave before they were nerfed.
You clearly didn't play Test Dungeon before it was nerfed.
Yeah, we nerfed Sunkern like 4 times. That is not a joke. We actually did that.
I still can't believe how tanky that damn thing was.
We nerfed
Oh,
Pidgey
yeah.
twice. We nerfed Suncorn 4 times. We nerfed Sunflora like once.
Damn thing knew damn thing knew grass whistle. That's what I'm trying to say, but my brain, it doesn't like me.
Burrito, are you okay?
No! Do I sound okay? Because if I do, you need a mental hospital, not me. And then I need to take it.
All right, and with that, Hyphen, I think this is probably the most important question of the podcast. It is going to be October when this goes live. So, who are we rooting for in the MLB playoffs this year?
No,
The
I'm
what now?
biased. So St. Louis, yes.
Cardinals.
I'm very biased. St. Louis, yeah.
All right. Got it.
Eh,
Just had to throw that out
I
there.
want to ask one more question. I know we kind of went into the non-game question, but I want to ask one more question myself.
Okay.
And that is New Game Plus, right? So I full disclosure, I haven't played New Game Plus, but in research for this
Me too.
podcast, I watched the cutscenes, and oh my god, you have literally like touched on the comedy that I like the most. Where did the whole idea of having an almost completely different like scene scenario for like New Game Plus, like what made you decide to go, you know what, let's just like go full comedy on New Game Plus?
Right, so we were waiting for Jive for sprites, and he was taking a really long time, so Burrito got really bored and decided to start making New Game Plus, and that's basically it.
All right, follow-up question. Can that be a separate hack on normal difficulty? Because I would play that over, like, it. I was like, I could not stop laughing last night when I was watching it. Like, it's just, like, sorry, I'm gushing here. It's just great. Like, Miguel is an absolute asshole, and there's fourth wall breaks all around. You know how much I love fourth wall breaks, Burrito. It's just, like, oh, just everything. I haven't watched it fully, but it's like, oh,
Oh my
I just want to
God,
let you
Yaka.
know I love it.
Yaka, you have
have to
not seen the
rewrite
death messages, my
Every
guy.
scene in the game, and because this is planned to be a full 20 chapter game, I don't
no.
know if New Game Plus will be a recurring thing. I hope it will be, but that's a lot of work.
I will make it be a real thing. New
All
Game
right,
Plus
Burrito,
will
you
be
have
real.
fun with
This is a
that.
threat.
You
I
have
will. I will have fun and then complain that I'm being bored.
You also wrote how many death messages again? I was in a call with you playing
guys-
Smash 4, and you were going insane
What's
writing
2 to the
those.
power 7 again? Because that's how many there is.
All right, seriously, if you haven't gotten PMD Gang to play your hack, you should like you should play your hack, because he will go through all of the different like. Because I need to because I only died in Beach Cave. I haven't actually seen all the death messages myself. I
Yeah,
need
he
to know
usually
where to
does
look.
that.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Anix is still going through them himself. Like,
God,
he is
that-
still not done. There is so much.
Like, it keeps track of what you died to and what you haven't. So,
I thought, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we had combinations? It wasn't funny, it was help. Send help. I am going insane.
I kept telling you while I was up tilting people with Mario in Smash 4, hey, you should maybe stop doing that. It sounds like you're
No.
not having fun, and you kept insisting to continue despite you clearly not having fun with it. Granted, you also
Okay.
played Geometry Dash, so
It's my suffering, and I will do it.
you also beat Randomizer as a cat form. I'll never let you live that down.
Perish.
So if I heard right earlier, you guys said you pretty much started from scratch and made this in a month.
It was like
Yep.
2 or 3.
Okay.
The entire base game was made in like 3 weeks. It's basically a hack jam project, but we got bored. with
I
it
was
because
gonna
that's
say, dude, like this is a lot of progress for basically a hack jam. Yeah. The heck, folks, you can do it too. Just follow this blueprint of Hyphen and Burrito.
Except
It
don't
just,
follow the blueprint where you procrastinate for 6 months. Don't do that. Don't do that. I wouldn't recommend it. You'll just
Alright.
feel sad about yourself.
Okay, with that, in 30 seconds or less, whoever wants to answer this, why is Pikachu's Great Adventure going to win Best Hack in Progress?
Well, we have a lot of ideas. We're gonna make it a full game. We're gonna try to make new dungeons. We already have a bunch of new dungeons in the code. If you want to go digging and play those, you can do that. We have a lot of ambitious ideas, and we're not afraid to take risks and ask 8x for help like 30 times. So, yeah. In conclusion, I think our hack will be the best in progress in like 2024, when it probably fully releases.
Perfect. That's right at the buzzer if I time that correctly. And any closing remarks for the people?
Bulls hit 700 home runs. I'm very excited about that.
Who?
Shout out to Albert.
Shout out to Albert.
Who the hell is Albert? Are you talking about Albert Einstein now or something?